After the break, we meet the bad boy of rock and roll, Brian Mannix.
From Wimbledon.
Welcome back. Anyone else cold? The people from Cairns and North Queensland are saying yes. With reason, huh? Not so long ago, our next guest was a pudgy suburban boy eking out an existence in a Melbourne tap factory. But today, he doesn't really need an introduction. He can be found wherever the screaming girls are. He's Australia's newest teen pop idol with a string of top 10 hits. He makes his acting debut tonight on national television. So please welcome the Uncanny X-Man's lead singer, Brian Mannix. Welcome, mate.
Good to be here.
Nice to see you. We were a bit worried about, as I said earlier, we couldn't advertise too much the fact you're going to be here, or else you probably would never have got through the front gates.
Well, I don't know about that, but it is good to be here, Ray. I don't know whether you're aware of it, but this is the breakfast show for most musicians in Australia.
Is that right?
It's fantastic, yeah.
Now, what about this acting career, then? Is it a case of move over Mel Gibson, or just a diversionary tactic?
Well, it was more a case of that the band was in between record deals after last year, and I had a bit of time while that was being sorted out, so I thought, well, this is something to do, and it's something I thought I would like to do, and I don't know, it's sort of pretty hard to tell how you're going with acting, because it's not like playing in a band where you play and everybody goes, yeah, that was good, and you sort of know. It's sort of, you do your scene and everybody goes, okay, next one, lunch, and sort of, and yeah, so...
But had you always wanted to act? I mean, is that part of getting up there and singing as well? Are you an extrovert by nature?
Yeah, I suppose I am. I look at a lot of what we do on stage as a form of acting, and so it's just sort of like an extension or something to sort of... Like the vibe really is like, if you do anything with conviction, chances are you'll get away with it. If you're lucky, you'll make some money doing it, and I forget the rest of it, but, you know, there's more to it.
Yeah, well, that's the truth. So the acting debut tonight in Sydney and Melbourne is in Channel I's The Flying Doctors. Brisbane and Adelaide saw you last week. Any reaction to that yet?
No, I haven't heard anything. I've sort of kept my head low. I'm not sure that I want to hear anything. We'll wait and see.
And tomorrow night in Perth, tell us about the character first up.
Well, I suppose basically he's a guy that's really going nowhere fast, and so he's seen Mad Max movies, as you can see there, and he's sort of modelling himself on that. He's on the dole, he's got nowhere to go, and sort of, he's really a bit of a fool, actually, Ray. I think I'm typecast.
But you say it was, I mean, quite unashamedly, it was modelled on the Mad Max character.
I think the dress is, the character really is, and the character is, he's not, I'm pretending to be tough all the time and trying to be tough, but never really quite gets there. It's sort of a bit of a worry.
All right, let's have a look at a clip from that, and we'll come back and talk about it.
G'day, Hurdle. Ronnie?
Crikey, Lion, Lou worked you over, mate. The mongrels, you tell us who done, and I'll get stuck right into him quick smart.
Did himself. Name's not Lionel no more neither, guys. It's Max. And I can get pretty mad if I have to, so, you two blokes want me to work on this boat or what?
Go for it, Lion. I've had enough. One more of these should just about finish it off. We'll win in any case. I'm the reigning champion, you know, Max.
Sure. Where's the toolbox?
Good heavens, Lord.
There's Max, Mrs. Carnegie.
Does your mother let you out, looking like that?
Well, you can't tell me what to do.
Don't you do yourself a mischief with all that stuff hanging from you?
Mischief? Well, what's my name, eh?
Was it fun?
It was great. You know, in a band, you're sort of stuck with the same 5 guys every day. And it was great, just the social scene of it, like to meet all these people and like Max Carl and all these stars and that. You know, like I still get starstruck and sort of, whoa, he's a big star, I know him. And yeah, that was sort of good to, you know, meet him, and everybody was so friendly and such a good cast that it was a ball.
What happens though, Brian? I mean, if it works, as I suspect it will you have to come back? They haven't killed you off or anything, have they?
No, they haven't killed me off. I suppose I could come back. I don't know. I think it's a case of wait and see what happens with everything else I'm doing. And, you know, I noticed that Stevie Wonder's on The Cosby Show this week, but, you know, nobody seriously thinks that Stevie's going to give up his musical career for acting. So, you know, Madonna and Sting make movies and stuff, so I can't see any reason why he can't do a bit of both.
No, sure. I understand from some of our people that you weren't crazy about the kissing scene?
Well, not so much, you know, I thought it was a challenge, but it's 6 o'clock in the morning, Ray. It's pretty hard to feel pretty sexy. You know, it's perhaps all right if you're on your way home, but when you get up and 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm sort of there and it's freezing cold and I don't really know Taya, who that's very well, who plays the girl. And she comes and she arrives and she says, oh, look, I'm really sorry, but I went out with my boyfriend last night and we had all this garlic. And I had a bit of a hangover, and I don't know if you've ever tried to kiss someone at 6 in the morning when you've got a bit of a hangover and they've got a bit of garlic on them. It's pretty heavy going, I found.
How many takes was that? One?
No, actually, the director told me later that my cheek was quivering so much he had to keep going and going until I sort of calmed down and relaxed enough. But that was probably the most difficult scene to film, I think.
It's funny, we had Hogs on the program talking about Crocodile Dundee before that was released, and he said again the kissing scene in Crocodile Dundee, where he thought, well, that's rather nice, here we go. But then to have the director and the assistant director standing off to one side saying, analysing it, saying, well, no, I think what you need to do is put the nose that side.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, you're sitting there trying to be intimate and there's people standing next to you holding up a light thing to sort of shine the light on your face and sort of, ooh. Yeah, it freaked me out a bit.
The last episode where you had to cry?
That was sort of something new and different and challenging. But, you know, it was something I thought that was, you know, I enjoyed doing it. And
It was a genuine cry, that it wasn't simply just a bit of...
Well, no, I sort of, not being familiar with whether it's cool when you're an actor and you start crying, you know, maybe they tend to go on and sort of keep crying and really get into it. But I thought, well, I'm an actor, so as soon as they said cut, I thought I had to smile and sort of wave at everybody. But, yeah, it was a bit hard.
How do you handle I mentioned to the people earlier that when I was in Melbourne for a charity tennis game last year, and you played at that, and that's the first time since the Beatles that I had seen adulation. There must have been 3,000 or 4,000, 5,000 young girls there who were sort of screaming. Now, do you handle that now? Is that pretty much par for the course?
Well, yeah, I suppose, you know, I'm a big fan of the Beatles, and I suppose in a lot of ways what we've tried to do with our band is we've tried to give kids of today a bit of what I think made rock and roll good in the 60s, like the Beatlemania type elements, the things that made that work, and, you know, the Rolling Stones sort of bad boy image and, you know, that sort of thing. I think that...
it's all part of the act, though. I mean, that's what you're saying.
Well, I think it's all part of rock and roll. I don't think rock and roll should ever be as clinical as, say, a cabaret or anything like that. It should be different.
But do you actually target, do you say, right, the most vulnerable group, the group who will respond like they did with the Beatles, etc., are young teenagers, especially teenage girls of sort of 12, 13, 14, 15, like that. I mean, is that the target group, or are you aiming a different group?
No, we don't ever really aim to say, OK, let's write a song for 13-year-old girls. In fact, the band played for 4.5 years, you know, pulling big capacity crowds in pubs, you know. So we started as an over-18 band, and I think, you know, just, you know, we looked, you know, pretty half-decent, I suppose, in some of our photos, and that sort of brought the under-18s around.
What about playing up sex, the sexual side of rock and roll? If we pretend it's not there, then we are deluding ourselves. I mean, is that a legitimate weapon?
Well, I think that, you know, when rock and roll started, like Elvis was pretty outrageous, he was a pretty sexy guy, and I think that, you know, that's all part of I think that's all part and parcel of what rock and roll should be. And, you know, I felt that over the years it was sort of getting pretty much the and dance, dance, dance. And I thought, well, you know, come on, there's got to be more to 1980 music going dance. And so we sort of tried to get that sort of, the other elements of music back in it for the young kids. Does that make sense?
That does make sense, yeah. Now, I mean, I'm told, I haven't been to one of the concerts, but I'm told that if there aren't a dozen bras thrown on the stage, the occasional pair of panties, that it wouldn't be a normal Uncanny X-Men concert.
Usually a few more than a dozen, actually, Ray. We've got enough lingerie to set up our own shop.
What about self-promotion? What about this line from Glenn Shorrock and others that those in the business, your rivals, regard your self-promotion as too heavy and criticise you for it?
Well, I don't know how accurate whether Glenn Shorrock said that. I saw him not so long ago and he seemed quite nice. But, well, maybe so, but they're probably just spewing that they didn't think of it first, you know. You know, you can't expect other performers to perform to the standards of what they think performing is. You know, I've got my own values of what objectives a performer should achieve, and so I follow my gut instincts, and if that worries people, that's too bad, you know, because I've got to do what I think is right.
Yes, yes. What about, now, I mentioned earlier that do you still go to Mass?
I try to. I haven't been as much as what I should.
But you're a Catholic school educated boy, and
Oh yeah, you know, I still think that you know, I still think that they're good guidelines for living a happy life. You know, the Ten Commandments. You know, yeah, you follow them and you do pretty well.
And your mum and dad are teachers. How do they regard when they see the reports of 13-year-olds running amok over their son?
Well, you know, mothers are pretty much all alike. Their sons can do no wrong. My dad was he was a bit sort of.
Ain't that the case?
It's all very nice, but you should go to teachers' college and become a teacher like the rest of the family. And then all of a sudden he went to the bank one day, and the bank girl said, "Oh, you're Brian Mannix's father, are you?" And they sort of made a bit of a fuss over him, and so he thought, "Oh, this is all right." And then when I started making more money than him, I sort of, you know, sort of like, "Hey, Dad," throw all the money at him, and sort of, yeah, that was a good feeling.
Well, congratulations on your acting career and doing that.
Well, we'll wait and see.
Well, we'll wait and see. But I'm told that, again, with not the Channel 9 publicity people, and I'm told other people involved in it, it was quite good fun, that they enjoyed it, that it worked well. You're not here to sing, but what about it? When we put the... We've got a fine band here, Jeff, and the boys are very good musicians.
Well, they're going to cut it, I'm sure, Ray, but I might stab it to death. I tell you what, I am here, so it's probably worth an extra $1 to me. Okay, a little later on.
We'll certainly pay you for it. All right, we'll take a break. So, thanks for talking to us. Take a break, and we'll come back and see if we can't somehow get Jeff to work out something that...
I'm an old rocker. Brian and I, we relate in rock and roll. It's a small difference of about 25 years, but I've no doubt we can narrow that.
Jeff, how many bras and panties have you had thrown at you in the day?
Today, from this lot, can't help us. What a bloody thing to step into, you know. No, girl, just a joke.
Oh, yes. You can attack him afterwards. All right, after the break, we'll come back with Brian Mannix.
Heavily overstocked.
Right, our persuasive powers have worked. A song from, I guess, Jeff's later period, pretty much, Blueberry Hill. Brian Mannix and Jeff, Blueberry Hill. Please welcome them.
He found his thrill on Blueberry Hill. On Blueberry Hill. On Blueberry Hill. On Blueberry Hill. Well, I found you. I found you. The moon stood still. The moon, she stood still. On Blueberry Hill. On Blueberry Hill. And lingered until my dreams came true. The wind and the willow played. Love sweet melody. Where are you? Enjoying your lunch? Beautiful. Fantastic. Have a great time. Watching Ray Martin here, and I don't know the words or the melody to this part, but who cares? No problem. Go where apart. Oh, we're apart. Oh, baby, you're a part of me still. Your part, just a little part of me still. Oh, you are my thrill. Where? On Blueberry Hill. All right, you know
It's 6 o'clock in the morning, Ray. It's pretty hard to feel pretty sexy, yeah? The moon stood still. The moon, she stood still. On Blueberry Hill. On Blueberry Hill.
All right, some bit of gossip. Uncanny X-Men are back in the recording studios putting down a new album. So I expect by the end of the year we'll have heaps of tracks coming from them way up there in the Australian top 5.